Hey guys, and welcome to the second video in this combat tutorial series. And today we're going to be covering not eating, we've covered that last lesson, picking up items such as the feathers or the arrows. Remember from the last tutorial that we have covered already eating and attacking chickens, and this method can use any of the combat styles, so you can use melee, ranged, or magic even. Well, actually not magic, that could be a bit more complicated, but not too much. So, let's get into picking up the items. The first thing we have to take into account is when do we want to pick up items? Well, we want to pick up items when our player is not in combat. So here, if my player is not in combat, then here we can pick up feather ID. And we're going to be making the pickup method in this tutorial. Alright, let's get to it. We're just gonna be needing the ID of the item we're picking up, so in this case it's gonna be feather IDs, and it's gonna be a private void called pickup, of course. So the first thing we want to do is pick up all of the items of the type ID, so with the ID we specify. How do we do that? Well, we can create a loop here inside this method, which would run over this loop again and again and again until there are no more items with this ID. Or we can leave that job to the loop, which is basically its main function, to run over a method again and again and again. So I've seen a lot of tutorials where this pickup method is created by doing while there are items of that type in the floor, you pick them up. However, my style is going to be, in this method, pick up one of these items, and then since since the loop would get to the same state, we would run this method again and pick up the feathers again. I know this might be a bit complicated to understand, but trust me, it will all come to you as you practice more and more. Alright, so first thing we want to do is check if there are items of the type we want to pick up. So the way we do that is we call the class getItems, and there we get the nearest, there we go, item with this ID. And if this is not null and the inventory is not full, and that rhymed. Okay, so basically, if we have an item with this ID that is near and it's not null, and our inventory is not full, means we can pick up an item because it is near us and that we have space in our inventory. So then we are going to be creating an RS ground item, which basically stands for any item that is on the ground. Let's just call that item. And again, we call the ground items ID. We have to import RS ground items, of course. There we go. And here comes the part that it's a bit more complicated. If the location of this item is on our screen, location, yep, there we go. So if this item style is in our screen, it means we can see the location of the item, and therefore we can right-click that tile and get the item. So item, do action, take. This to string, I don't know if that. Yeah, let's do it this way. Okay, so if the tile is on our screen, it means we can pick up the item. So what we're going to do is do an action on that item, which is take, and then we get the name of the item. The way we do that is the following. That's that way. RS ground items do not hold information on the item itself. And that's something a bit abstract, I know, but the way we do that is we get the RS ground item and we get the item it represents. And that way, now we have an RS item and we can get the name of that item. So yeah, that's the way to do it, I guess. And if the tile is not on our screen, then we walk to there, nearest with an ID, get location. Okay, so if the tile is on our screen, we take the item, and if it's not in our screen, then we're going to be walking using the minimap, that's the MM, stands for minimap, to the item's location, and then we're going to be able to pick it up. I don't think this is going to be useful in our chicken script, but just letting you guys know how to do it in case your ground items might be more spread around. And then we sleep just for a few milliseconds, nearly a second there, to have time to reach the item and pick it up. So yeah, that's pretty much everything there is to picking up the items. Now we just have to add it to our loop. And no, actually I've already added it. Sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah, so if my player is not in combat, we pick up feather IDs, and we're only going to be picking up one of the feather IDs. So if ground items get nearest with that ID is not null, means that there is an item in the ground with this ID near us, and our inventory is not full, which means we can have more items in our inventory. Then we create the RS ground item of that ID, which basically represents a real item in the ground. And if that item's location is in our screen, then we can take it. And if it's not on our screen, we can walk to that location and then run the method again and take the item. And finally, we sleep to give us time to reach and take the item. And that's pretty much it. I hope you learned something. And sorry for my voice, I got a bit sore throat. So yeah, and also just wanted to mention that a long time has passed since the last tutorials were released. I got a new HD webcam, so the new channel updates will be coming, and you will be able to finally see my face, in case you were interested in that, which I doubt. But anyway, yeah, should be making it a bit more interesting. And I haven't forgotten about the RSBot Weekly. I just didn't have time to make it, and hopefully I should be having time soon. So yeah, thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe, and good luck in your programming.